have you seen my phone? I want to take a picture of this bad tip and put it on Instagram. Getting loose change used to be so depressing, but now I can share it with strangers.
Let me sum it up. Twitter is stupid, and Instagram is Twitter for people who can't read.
Where is my phone? I could have sworn I left it right here next to yours. Oh, I'll just call it.
Oh, that's not necessary. I'm sure it'll turn up.
This little guy who wants to shake your hand and make friends with you is a chameleon. Their hands are pretty special, split into two sections like tiny pincers. Super fun to look at. Sometimes you'll see a chameleon fighting the current, but this is actually just it mistaking the water for a branch and trying to grab onto it. Chameleons usually walk really slow, with a steady, swaying rhythm. One step forward, then a little wobble back and forth, just like an old man out for a stroll. But this isn't just for fun. It's a form of mimicry. By moving like this, they can blend in with leaves or branches swaying in the wind to avoid predators. Of course, they can walk normally too, but honestly, they never look very graceful. Interestingly, their eyes move independently, scanning around without turning their head. Once they lock onto a target, they shoot out their long, sticky tongue and catch it in just 0.07 seconds. Fast and accurate. But not all chameleons can change color like a rainbow. Only about 30% of species can shift into bright colors. Most of them can only make their skin a bit lighter or darker, mainly for camouflage or temperature control. This chicken-like sound is actually made by a cheetah cub, and we can also call it an Indian leopard. Cheetah cubs are incredibly cute and delicate, usually measuring around 15 to 20 centimeters in length, making them look like little kittens. Cheetahs and domestic cats are related, both belonging to the big cat family. However, cheetahs are much larger than house cats, and their calls are quite similar to a cat's. That soft meow sound is actually the cheetah's way of being affectionate. Pretty interesting. What's also interesting is that many people can't tell the difference between a cheetah and a leopard. The key difference is in their faces. A cheetah has distinct black tear marks beneath its eyes, while a leopard doesn't. Also, leopards have more evenly spaced spots. Cheetahs are among the smartest mammals on the savannah, and many people enjoy keeping them as pets. Cheetahs raised from a young age can be very affectionate, even clingier than a cat when they're being playful. However, unlike cats, cheetahs have a loyalty similar to that of dogs. They are very protective of their owners. When you kiss a cheetah on the cheek, not only does it not resist, it'll even politely respond. Although the cheetah is a predator of the savannah, its behavior is more like an oversized house cat. Touch its nose with your hand, and it'll start purring, a deep rumble that sounds almost exactly like a cat. Once it builds trust with humans, a cheetah can become incredibly affectionate and clingy. It'll often run straight into your arms asking for hugs, rubbing itself against you non-stop. Wave a cat toy in front of it, and it'll curiously play just like a kitten. Even when you point a camera at it, it'll stay perfectly still, seriously posing and cooperating for every shot. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals in the world, capable of reaching speeds up to 75 miles per hour, but their temperament is relatively gentle. Unlike lions, they don't enjoy fighting, and even after catching prey, they often lose it to wild dogs. That's why people jokingly call them the gig workers of the savannah. When you run a metal scraper across a horse's rump, you'll see layers of loose hair instantly come off that smooth skin. But why does a horse shed so much hair? Actually, during the fall and winter, horses grow thick coats to keep warm. When spring arrives and the weather gets warmer, those winter hairs begin to shed gradually. However, they don't just fall to the ground right away. Most of them stay stuck to the body, making the coat look messy. It doesn't just look bad, it can also affect the horse's ability to stay cool. That's why caretakers manually remove the loose hair. They use metal scrapers or electric clippers to remove the excess hair, which not only gives the horse a gentle massage, but also helps relieve itching. However, watching the process of removing all that loose hair from the horse is surprisingly satisfying and relaxing. Once all that loose hair is cleaned off, the horse's coat looks smooth, shiny, and full of life, showing just how much difference proper grooming can make. This big kitty carrying a slipper is actually a cougar. It may look kind of cute, but it's one of the top predators in the Americas. At first glance, it looks a bit like a lion, but its size is closer to that of a leopard. It's part of the cat family's Puma genus, a true member of the big cat crew. That's why it's also called a mountain lion or a puma. Young cougars are extremely cute, with spots on their fur that look like those on lion cubs. These spots gradually fade as they grow up. Adult cougars usually weigh between 110 and 220 pounds. with grayish-brown fur that can look just like a lion's coat in the sunlight. They're the